Hey Sean, did you watch that first Portugal game against Iceland?
Yeah, I did. Why?
What happened? Looks like Portuguese players were too busy reading and trying to pronounce Icelandic last names, eh?
Silent night.
Down to the wire.
We're back. We couldn't do a video last week, but today we're making up for that. We're talking about two topics. I'm Andres Franken, this is Sean Da Silva. We're down to the wire. And today we're going to be looking at Euro as well as Copa America. Let's start with Euro. I think it's the tournament that has more hype right now.
Starting with you, your pick so far. You have France. You see France going through far in this tournament, possibly winning it. Why do you think that they're going to do so well based off of their result?
Well, it's been a really close tournament so far. No team has scored more than 2 goals, which is pretty crazy because the entire first round is done. So because it's such a tight race between all the teams, I think it's going to come down to who has possession of the ball and who can finish in front of the net. I think France has the ability up front to score goals for sure. They have a lot of really good young strikers, and they're at home, and home field advantage is something you can never count out. Last time France hosted a major soccer tournament was the World Cup in '98. They won that. Argentina won at home in '78, Germany in '74, England in '66. You see it over and over in soccer history. So I like their chances.
France is obviously a very talented team, especially up front. They have a lot of people to choose from, and people are saying they got their goals late to win the game. Both games recently, Albania was keeping them to a 0-0 draw until the very last dying minutes today. So, yeah, France is a good team and they have the ability to score. Of course, they've struggled, but they've kept possession, like you said. Possession's so huge in soccer today. And I feel like France is one of those teams that can pull off, and once they get going, they will start scoring early on. And once they do that, they're very dangerous, especially with their forwards just firing on all cylinders. You have Griezmann, who finally broke through. You know that once he gets going, it's going to be a dangerous team.
Speaking of possession, another team that we have on the list is Spain, of course. I don't think you can dismiss Spain, despite of the disaster that the World Cup was 2 years ago. They're back in pretty good form. They only lost one of their 10 qualifying games for the tournament, and they were tied for the least goals allowed, only 3, and that goes to show just how much they had the ball. The only other team to allow 3 goals was England, another really strong team at this tournament, despite not being able to pull off the win in their first game. But yeah, you could see in the first game how much they controlled the game, and they don't have the same firepower up front that they've always had, and that's what's gonna be a struggle for them. But they do have the midfield that is able to pick out those passes, particularly Andres Iniesta, who was genius in that first game. And
Always is.
if the Spanish midfielders are able to pick out their forwards at the right time, I think they'll have the ball long enough to be able to win some crucial games, and they're another really important team to watch in this tournament.
Yeah, once again, I have them as a true contender in this tournament. They are old, but at the same time, their midfield is so strong, just like France. Iniesta controlling it all in the center of the midfield, just distributing the ball like the way he does. He's a true magician in the midfield, and if you have Iniesta on your team, and with the talent that Spain has overall, they're a very good team, and I don't think that they be counted out just because of their World Cup that they had 2 years ago. This is a team that can get it done and probably is looking to get 3 in a row for Euro Cup. So I don't know. You can't count them out. And Morata up front, he's a good striker. He's talented. He's young, and I think that he can definitely replace the likes of Fernando Torres, who's not playing this tournament. He can definitely get some goals in there for them as soon as they feed him the ball. So they're a dangerous team, and I think that they can go far too.
Many other picks that you see potentially winning this Euro Cup,
You can't count out the former World Cup winners, Germany.
of course.
They are obviously always dangerous. They have so many players to choose from, so much talent at the back. They're a full team, complete team. And Germany, yes, they didn't look too convincing at the start of their game, but Germany is a team that I've noticed as the tournament progresses, they get better and better and better. It's like they almost kick it up a notch every single game, and they're definitely dangerous. I'm not gonna count them out, and by any means, you can't count Germany out. Thomas Muller up front, he's an amazing striker, and he's deadly. He's a deadly finisher. You get him the ball in the box, a chance he's gonna finish. So they have a lot of firepower. I see them taking the group for sure, and definitely going far in this tournament.
Yeah, they definitely have the potential, but I think they've taken a few steps back in the last couple of years. They've lost a couple of games against big teams. They lost a friendly against France. They also lost against England. Those were friendlies, so they're not to be counted for too much. But I think they're indications that there are other teams in Europe that could definitely challenge them.
Yeah.
Moving on now from France over to the United States, where it's the 100th anniversary of Copa America. This is already in the quarterfinal stage. The groups have been decided. All the matchups are set up, and I think we've come to an agreement here on who the two main contenders are.
Mexico and Argentina. I think that's going to be the final. He agrees with me. So let's start with Argentina. What do you see from them that you think will carry them through to the final?
Argentina is, I think, the only really elite team left. Brazil was extremely disappointing. They were knocked out. Uruguay, which I thought before the tournament was a contender, also eliminated.
On a side note for Brazil, I do feel like they are trying to win the Olympics rather than Copa America this year, just because it's in Brazil. So let's give them that because Neymar is not playing the Copa America. But yeah, continue.
As true as that is, Brazil, with the amount of talent that they have, they cannot be losing in a group that has Ecuador, Peru, and Haiti. You simply have to get out of that group if you're Brazil. I know they were missing key players. I didn't expect them to be a contender, but I didn't expect them to be eliminated in the first round. That was truly surprising.
That is
To be
surprising.
fair, they were eliminated unfairly, but they shouldn't have been caught in that position in the first place. The goal that Peru scored against them was a handball. It was pretty clear. But again, Brazil shouldn't have,
To
found
depend
itself
on that.
in that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Argentina, they just have a very complete squad right now. The defense finally looks really solid. They only let up the one goal against Chile in the first round. The three games they played were all very different. Honestly, I think they played best in the first game. I know the results might not show that. They won 2-1. 5-0 and 3-0 are much better results. But in the game against Chile, they were pushing up really high, putting pressure on the ball. And if they play like they did in that first game, I don't see anything stopping them. What they can't do is they can't sit back with the ball when other teams play too defensively. They still got results against Panama and Bolivia, but if they played in that same way against teams that are more talented and more dangerous on the counterattack, that is where they could see problems.
Argentina is a strong team when you have that much talent, especially striker-wise. They have so much talent. When you can afford to sit Messi and Aguero for most of the game, you got a pretty good chance of winning this tournament. Argentina dominated all three games, but Chile was really impressive. I noticed a lot of things that they did well in that game. And like you said, if they continue to play like that, there's not many teams that can compete with them at that level.
Okay, let's go to our other contender that we mentioned, Mexico. Why do you think that they have a shot at winning this and upsetting Argentina potentially?
Mexico is one of those teams that do always... It's like a hit or... I've noticed it's a hit or miss with them. It's when, Hernandez is an elite player. He's shown that. And they have some significant talent in that squad. And when they do perform together, I've noticed a couple of games, especially against Uruguay in their first game, they all really played well together. They combined as a unit. And if that happens, like you said, Argentina could get caught in the counterattack if they play the way they did against Panama and Bolivia. And Mexico is one of those teams that have pace and can push the counterattack really well, especially in their first game. So, yeah, that's why I see that there can be an upset there if Argentina sits back too much and Mexico can really just push that counterattack quickly.
Yeah, and speaking of that counter, I think what also goes in Mexico's advantage is their youth. They do have a lot of young guys. Hernandez is their really, big striker right now. But they have other guys up there that can score. They haven't lost in nearly a calendar year now. And that loss was in last year's Copa America, which was a depleted Mexico squad because at the time they divided the squad into a team that went to play there, and then another team they had at the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
And in that year, they had wins against Chile. They beat the States at the Gold Cup final, and they were able to tie Argentina in September.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they have a lot of potential. It's going to be interesting. Their quarterfinal matchup is against Chile. I think that's going to be a big test because Chile is one of the other teams I'm looking at right now that could potentially still reach the final. And I think if Chile manages to beat Mexico in that quarterfinal, I see Chile going all the way through as well.
Yep, I agree with you. It's definitely that game's gonna tell a lot. Whoever wins that game is definitely, in my eyes, meeting Argentina in the final. There's no other competition there. Alright, so we tried to do a challenge, but the weather doesn't help. It's raining, and his internet's not working. So our FIFA challenge, penalty challenge that we're supposed to do, will get postponed to probably next week. We might do 2 challenges next week just to make up for the 2 weeks missed, and just to give him a chance to catch up.
Thanks.
So yeah, that's it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As usual, leave comments we need challenge videos, so we need challenge ideas to make these videos. We're running out of ideas.
Please.
So yeah, especially when it's crappy like this, we do need challenge ideas for indoors. So please leave your comments in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we will be back next. We will be back next week.
Down to the wire.